Welcome to the RadioU podcast. Coming up, how the federal government might try to convince you to have more babies.
Also, if you can't stand sitting next to your spouse on a flight, apparently you're not alone.
All that and more on the way next. I fixed a lawnmower yesterday.
Oh, so you finally mowed your lawn?
I finally mowed my lawn. Yeah, it took long enough. I had put off getting, because, the weather was just all over the place.
Yeah, it was.
And I put off getting the mower out. And I finally got it out. And then, of course, it doesn't start. But I'll tell you what, it's so satisfying fixing something. Like, I wish, it's just such a satisfying feeling that I wish you could have more often.
Yeah, it's a dopamine rush when you fix something.
And it was so simple fixing the mower. I did not drain out the gas before I put it away for the winter. So that was one step. It needed fresh, clean gas, and it needed a new spark plug. Anybody could do those things.
Sure.
They're not hard. But when it goes from not working to working, it feels pretty good.
I had that happen to me. I was house sitting kind of for my boss, and they needed me to mow the lawn because they were on vacation for 2 weeks in Florida, and it was the middle of summer. And so they needed me to mow the lawn, and I was literally mid-mow on a riding mower, and it just died.
Oh, no.
And I was like, uh-oh, what happened? And so one of their neighbors came over. He noticed me sitting there struggling with this mower, and we got it fixed, and I got to finish mowing, which was great.
There you go.
Didn't have to leave a lawn half mowed.
That's not a good feeling.
No.
That especially if it's the front yard that everyone can see, you really feel like a fool.
Yeah.
Doing that. And you're just telling the whole neighborhood, hey,
it's
got
the
a broken
mower's
mower.
fault.
Yeah. But I think this is a feeling everybody should feel. I want to encourage everyone today. Find something. It doesn't have to be a mower. Find something. There's probably something around your apartment that could use a little adjustment.
Sure.
Find something to fix and just try not to break it worse than it already is.
Yeah, I mean, if you truly think that you cannot fix it, don't try to fix it. But if it's something you're like, okay, I could do this, then give it a shot.
Maybe don't mess with electricity.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, some of the happiest, like the just top feelings I've had in my life.
Is you fixing something.
Yeah, like right below getting married is like fixing the mower. When I put a new engine or motor, not engine. I put a new motor in my dryer.
Okay.
It feels really good to do that kind of stuff.
I feel like this is now getting into man territory because I don't know if I would agree that I'd be like, yeah, this is just full life satisfaction right here. Me fixing something that's like, yep, that sounds like a guy.
But it's not just like fixing it. It's not the process of fixing it. It's just once it wasn't starting, it wasn't working.
And now it is.
And it is now because of you. Watching YouTube videos. How much does the government have to pay you to have a baby? $5,000, is that enough? For you just to decide, yes, I'm going to do it. It's baby time.
No, not that alone.
You need more than $5,000.
No, I feel like I need a lot of factors in place to actually have a child. A $5,000 credit from the government, sure, that's a nice incentive, but there needs to be other things in place before I'm like, yep, ready to have a child.
$5,000. And you know what? You put it great, too. It's a credit. It's not like they just, like, you have the baby in the hospital and then you get a check for $5,000 the next day.
Right.
Which, even that, could we count on the government to pull that off?
For everyone, I'm not sure. And also, I do feel like this, while I don't hate the idea of incentivizing having kids, I would much prefer that there'd be incentives for like a lot of things to help with the environment of having kids rather than just having the child itself. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because I feel like the environment is more important than just you having the baby. Because what happens after you have the baby? What environment are you having the baby in?
Okay, first of all, I guess we should be clear. This is a $5,000 baby bonus is something that's being talked about this week. And even Donald Trump, the president, said, quote, sounds like a good idea to me. Which, you could say that about people could ask me a lot of things. I'd be like, sounds like a good idea. It doesn't mean that it'll actually happen.
Yes.
And especially in the government when it has to go through so many checks and balances and different departments and whatever. But it is a semi-serious idea, at least, that is being considered as some kind of way to help boost birth rates in the United States, where in 2023, we hit our low for birth rate in the United States. Only 3.6 million babies were born. And that's apparently not enough.
Yeah, apparently that's not good. Well, and I agree. I do agree that we're hitting an issue, and it's coming to a head quite quickly. We have a very aging demographic here in the United States, and those that are unfortunately passing away are not being replaced. You know what I mean? And no one ever going to be replaced. That's how I'm referring to.
And not even passing away. People that are aging out of the workforce.
Yes.
That's something you have to think about as a population as a whole.
Exactly.
People are aging out of being able to work, and there's not enough new workers to replace them.
Yeah, this is purely for the government an economical
all they
and
care
tax issue.
They don't care about it.
No.
This, really.
They want people to pay taxes.
Yeah, that's right. They want Social Security to not dry up and things like that.
Yeah, less people means less people working, which means a burden on the economy, and also less people paying income tax. So, yeah, this is all about money for them.
Yeah, but to go back to your thing, though, you're right, because if you were saying it takes more than $5,000.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's not just like, I do think part of why people aren't having as many kids now in the United States is times are tough and the economy is bad, and you don't want to, you're maybe already cash strapped, and then you're like, well, let me have to have another mouth to feed and go to the hospital and all the doctors and blah, blah, blah. And so people are like, if I can avoid that, I'm going to, as long as I can, even if I'd like to have a child one day.
Right.
And then that means you have less kids than you would have otherwise if the economy was booming.
Right.
But
I also think
that's also not the only thing, though.
I think another part of it, and we've talked about this countless times, is not a lot of people are in relationships. Not a lot of people are getting married and in a place where they would want to have kids, because who really willingly wants to be a single parent? I mean, I don't know many that would want that. And so
even for $5,000.
Yeah, so I feel like that also needs to be considered. That's an aspect to this. There's all sorts of different reasons why we have seen a decline in this. And so, this in no way solves this issue, but like I said, I don't hate the idea of incentivizing having kids. I just think we need to make sure that when people are having kids, they're having them in a healthy environment and a healthy relationship. Sure, you can't guarantee that, but I would hope and want that for every child born.
There's other things we can do besides just throwing just straight actual cash dollars.
Yeah.
That have to come from somewhere, by the way.
Yep. Good point.
At people to have children. Maybe just making it easier. Maybe having childcare easier, like that's a big thing. People who both work, you have to both work, even if you get $5,000.
Yeah.
Both parents are going to have to work to be able to keep yourselves afloat. And then what's the baby doing at that time?
Right.
And that costs more money.
Yes.
When's the last time you thought about Outback Steakhouse? 877-2-RadioU, because you're about to think about it now. They've just launched Hot Wing Roo-lette.
Oh.
Roo like kangaroo.
Oh, I was
Outback.
wondering. I was like, is this spelled wrong? No, it's for the kangaroos.
It's Australia.
It's Australia.
They have launched Hot Wing Roulette. You can play at, this is something you would have to do in an Outback Steakhouse for $9.99, and you get a plate of wings that like spins around, and it's you and your friends would go, I guess, and then one of those wings is the extra spicy wing.
Oh.
Will you get the extra spicy wing? Who will be the one?
So that's like their spiciest of spice?
Yeah, the spiciest thing they can do. But yeah, it's only, most of the wings, all of the wings except for one are just normal spice.
Yeah.
And then
one of them's super hot.
The lucky one or the unlucky one, depending on how you want to look at it, winds up with the super hot one.
Are we talking like ghost pepper hot, the last dab hot? Like, what are we talking?
Does it
have a Scoville level rating?
It probably does, but it's not in this press release.
That's so sad. We need the Scoville.
It just literally says extra spicy wing.
What does that even mean?
I don't know.
Outback.
You know what you can do though is to try to gauge how it would go for you. You could look up the hashtag Hot Wing Roo-lette challenge because they're encouraging people to live stream their experience.
Oh, that's kind of fun.
Yeah, it does sound like a way for them to try to,
get some social media.
You're not just eating, it's an experience and it's entertainment, and they want people to actually go and be there at Outback instead of just get it for takeout or get somewhere else,
I could definitely see some YouTubers trying this. We talked about YouTube earlier, and I could see this being a popular thing to give a go with your friends.
And I like Outback.
Yeah.
Outback's good.
Yeah, put some shrimp on the Barbie.
Yeah, get a bloomin' onion. The bloomin' onion is the MVP at Outback Steakhouse. I think they would be out of business if it wasn't for the bloomin' onion.
The bloomin' onion is so good.
Yeah, I love the bloomin' onion. Those brown rolls, those are pretty good too.
I don't even know if I've had those.
It's the free bread that they give you with your order.
It's been a minute since I've been to Outback, so I don't even remember the bread.
How could you forget the brown rolls?
Sorry, I don't even remember the bread.
They're the only restaurant that has brown rolls that they give you for free, except for Cheesecake Factory, and we don't go there.
Yeah, it is expensive, but Cheesecake Factory bread is the best.
It's the best part of the meal at Cheesecake Factory. Except unless you get cheesecake.
I was going to say, what about the cheesecake?
What's that? In the night sky. It's...
Hudson and Allie in space.
Well, Hudson, tonight and tomorrow, we will see a special alignment. It's going to take place just before dawn.
And so we actually will see it.
I believe we will actually have a chance to see this. So, with the current waning crescent moon, it'll be joined in the sky by the planets Venus and Saturn in a close configuration that, depending on your geographical location, could resemble a smiley face.
Aww.
It's a beautiful thing. This phenomenon...
Wait, when is the moon like an upside... when was the moon smile?
Well, don't you know the moon does like the Cheshire smile thing? Like it looks like the Cheshire cat?
I thought it always looked pretty sideways.
Well, either way, the way this will configure, it will look like a smiley face.
Do I have to make my head cockeyed a little bit?
Yeah, you might need to turn. It might be more on like the southern hemisphere where you can see it more as a regular, upright smile.
Okay.
But either way, this is a phenomenon known as a conjunction where two or more celestial objects appear pretty close together. So it's pretty neat either way.
Is this something that you can just see with the naked eye?
You should be able to, yes.
But it's only right before dawn.
It's just before dawn that you should notice this, yes.
Worth waking up early for.
Well, I mean, we're already going to be awake.
Yeah.
So might as well just get out of our cars when we're, coming into the building and look up and be like, all right, let's see it.
Yeah.
Where's the smiley face?
And I always do that anyways.
You look into the night sky when you get out?
When I get here, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a tradition I have.
You're just like, I
do. I take it in.
Take in the celestial objects.
I do. I look at the stars and I just think about, how big and vast this universe is and all the stars out there. And then I think, and I'm one of them.
You're one of the stars.
I am a star, yeah.
Okay.
I feel like that's a good way to start the day.
Stars in the universe are a pretty ferocious thing. They're like explosions of fire.
Exactly.
Are you that?
Yes. I am very ferocious. I do. I'm tenacious. I'm a force of nature, and I think that makes me very similar to a star.
Okay. Well,
That's
you
can
keep telling yourself that. I'm not going to deny any feelings that you might have.
I shine bright for all to see.
Like a diamond.
Yeah. No, like a star. Well, so it's tonight and tomorrow.
Tonight and tomorrow. So technically, I feel like it'll be, maybe it was early this morning when this was happening. Did you notice it this morning when you were looking up at the night sky?
No, I did not.
Did you look at the sky?
I did. I told you it's my tradition.
Okay, I don't know if I believe you, but
every day we have security cameras. You could check the cameras, and every day when I get here, I'm the first one here, and you could see me wandering through the parking lot, gazing up.
You're just looking.
Yes.
Maybe I do need to scrub through the footage and put together a little compilation for everybody. These are all the times that Hudson looked in the sky.
It would be, you could make like a time lapse.
Yeah.
a really long
How
time
long
lapse.
it takes for you to get from your car to
Well,
the building.
no, I don't mean that. I just mean like, the people that do like the videos where they show their face every day and they do it for like 10 years. But you could do that of me in the parking lot looking up at the sky, at the night sky.
It's just a screenshot.
Allie and I each get to pick our favorite and least favorite thing from a given category in first to worst, and then you decide which of us chose better and where we miss. Today's topic, Allie, condiments.
Yeah.
Condiments for food, and I get the first pick. I'll tell you first of all what I found before I actually give my picks. Is that I just actually like most condiments.
I was running into the same thing. I definitely knew what my favorite was going to be, but I really struggled to find like a worst because I also feel like personal preference plays into this for sure. And I didn't want to just pick something where it's like, oh, it's spicy, so I can't personally handle it because I don't think because it's spicy, it makes it bad. So I tried to stay away from that. But yeah, I dealt with the same issue.
Okay, here we go. My first pick in condiments. The best condiment, I say honey mustard.
Oh, okay.
I think honey mustard is the best generic condiment. Like, we could go into more specifics of like, oh, do you want to pick Chick-fil-A sauce? I think it has to be just the generic version. Honey mustard is the number one pick. It's used for so many things. It can be so good on so many things.
Yes,
And
I
it
agree.
can literally make some things that would be inedible edible if it's good.
Yeah.
The worst pick, I'm going to say blue cheese sauce dressing.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I would never get that with my wings. Like, if I see, that was the one thing, this is what it was for me. If I see a burger on a menu, and other than the blue cheese, it looks fine, I don't want the blue cheese on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I would never order something with blue cheese on it.
Okay.
And so if that's something they say is on it. So that's why I chose that.
That's your picks. Okay, I got to be honest. I did kind of want to go with a specific one, but I won't. I'll go more generic. So my first is the all-time classic, good with anything, versatile, and that is ranch.
Oh, ranch is a good choice.
Yes,
That was a close one for me.
That's my first. And then for my worst, I'm going to go with what I believe to be the most useless condiment because I have never found it to be like good with anything.
Uh-huh.
And that's truffle oil.
Truffle oil?
Yeah.
Is it? Okay. Interesting.
Yep.
I think truffle oil is pretty good on fries. You ever had that?
It can be good on fries, but I feel like sometimes it can be really overused, especially if you go to like a more upper end like restaurant or whatever.
They love giving you the truffle oil for
They
the
love
fries.
putting truffle oil really on anything. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, this can get a little much for me.
All right. Best and worst. Our first and worst for condiments. Who did it better and where did we miss? I have honey mustard as best, blue cheese as worst. Allie,
I've got ranch as my best and truffle oil as my worst.
let us know your thoughts. 8772 Radio U.
I had a hard time picking worst.
Yeah, I did too, because the worst one, a lot of times when we do this, the worst thing, it's like, but do I even ever actually experience that? Like, once you know it, you don't like it, you just avoid it.
Exactly. Well, and like I said, it's all up to personal preference with food stuff. And it's just like if you really like something and somebody else really hates it, it's like really hard for, So that's just how I feel. It's like it's really tough because it's not like I haven't had, I guess, a good experience with truffle oil, but I've had more negative than good. So it's tough.
Landon says, ranch is my first. It's the most versatile. My worst is mustard. Just
See, some people
regular mustard.
really hate mustard.
I thought I like mustard on burgers, and I don't mind the taste of it otherwise, but it's closer to worst than best because it has limited use. Like, just actual regular mustard has limited uses to me.
Yep, I would agree.
Jamie says, I'm with Allie, but barbecue sauce is superior.
I almost picked barbecue, but I feel like ranch is slightly more versatile than barbecue.
And I think I love barbecue sauce too, but there's so many things where if you give me the option of barbecue sauce or honey mustard or a few others, I'm going to choose the honey mustard. It really depends on the food. Max says, I have to go with Allie because I like blue cheese. He says, Heinz ketchup is the best.
Oh, that sounds like nay-nay.
German ketchup is the worst.
German ketchup?
What is German ketchup?
I don't know if I've tried that.
I have to do some research on that. German ketchup.
Is it like the really, really liquidy ketchup?
It looks like it's literally just like a brand of style. It looks spicy, maybe. I don't know. That's a very niche choice, I feel. Susanna says, don't love Hudson's choices, but Allie's are worse, so voting for Hudson.
One of them is supposed to be worst, so I don't entirely know what that means.
I think she means your worst choice was a bad worst choice.
So she likes truffle oil.
I think that's what she's saying.
Clarification, please, Susanna.
Amanda says she can't be voting for you because she says first is barbecue and worst is ranch.
Really? And that's the thing is so many people have like different opinions on this stuff, and like they may absolutely hate your best.
Here's one from Cam we left out. Sriracha as his best.
Oh, sriracha? Okay.
I'm not big on sriracha.
Yeah, I don't know if I would agree with that one.
That actually is, even though I like some hot sauce, I mean, I do like hot sauce.
Yeah.
Sriracha is not one I would ever really lean towards. Cam also says the worst is relish, which I did consider.
I also considered that. I considered like horseradish and stuff like that.
Thomas says, I'm good with honey mustard and ranch, but blue cheese is awful, so I have to go with Hudson there. And Kim is complete opposite of us. Kim says first blue cheese, worst ranch.
So there's no votes for anyone on that one.
Oh, Max has clarification on the German ketchup. He says it's runny, too sweet, and has a bit of a curry flavor. I think they might show a tomato to the sauce. Not tomatoey enough, Max is saying.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I think the result's inconclusive here.
Yeah.
Susanna says, that's long. I like truffle and blue cheese. Don't love ranch and honey mustard. Also, hot sauce is the best.
Hudson, stop me, I guess, if you've already heard this question before. Have you heard the question, am I too far gone for God to save me? I think that's what I did to you last week too.
Yeah.
With something. I can't remember what it was, but you asked me the same way. So I thought I'd give you an opportunity to do the same.
Yeah, to give it right back to you.
Yes, exactly. But we've all heard that before. Maybe we've even thought that before. I'm too far gone for God to save me. Mm-hmm. You know, there's been times in my own life where I'm like, I'm way too deep in this mess. How could God redeem what's happening in this situation or redeem this mess of a life that I have right now?
Mm-hmm.
But he can. That's kind of the craziness of it all, is we look at every situation as kind of irredeemable. Maybe we can't change. There's no way God would ever want us or want a relationship with us. And let me tell you, the answer to that is always, yes, he does. He wants to have a relationship with you. You are never too far gone for God's grace to reach you.
Yeah, that it reminds me of back in the day, right? It's crazy to imagine, but we didn't used to always have Google Maps on phones.
Yeah.
And so you used to be able to like go out and you're driving somewhere that you've never been before. And if you got lost, like what would you do? You had to stop and ask for directions or something?
Stop and ask for directions or just try and get to a road that looks familiar.
Like you could actually get lost and you actually could be too lost to ever find where you were going. You know what I mean? Now that really couldn't happen unless you completely are so lost that you lose cell service. You're never too far off the trail for Google to open up Google Maps and for it to direct you where you need to go.
Yeah.
And even if you thought you could get there on your own, maybe you can't, but Google can take you. And that's what God can do for your life.
God is Google. No kidding.
Yeah.
But no, it's a good analogy because it's true. Like you're never too far gone. You're never removed from that. God's grace is so sufficient in every situation. And when I refer to that saying his grace is sufficient, it means it's always enough for you.
Mm-hmm.
When Jesus died on the cross, he didn't just die for the sins of a few people or the sins of those that lived at the time. He died for every single person that ever lived, was living currently at that time, will ever live right now. Like every person that you could ever think of. That's crazy. That's mind-blowing to actually try and put that into perspective. It's crazy. So you're never too far gone. You're never removed from that capability of finding that grace in your life.
Yeah. It's something that I come back to over and over again is that no matter what situation that you are, that God can be there for you to pull you out of that. And again, because we put so many limits on God, even if you've been a Christian for a long time, if we still have our own human mental limits that we want to put on God, the things that we think he can do. But the truth is he can do so much more than any of us imagine. Jesus is ready to help you with that. And that's true whatever your situation is. Maybe it's not that bad, but you still want help. Like either way, RadioU.com/free gift, or start talking to God about it right where you are. Whenever you have workplace issues you want some help with, email mornings@radiou.com. This one, it's a little off the beaten path for fired or hired, but I think we'll make it work.
Okay.
This one less about like, should your coworkers or whatever, get out of here. But it does involve work. The person says, I work at IHOP. A few of us recently were debating how celebrities should be treated if they showed up here. One of my coworkers thinks no one's special. They should wait like everybody else. I disagree. I think if someone is rich or famous enough and they want a private section to eat in peace, they should get it, no matter what kind of celebrity, athlete, singer, politician, etc. Privacy matters, and they should be entitled to treatment if that's what they ask for. So the question is, if you were working at, say, IHOP, would you treat a celebrity like any other customer or give them special treatment? 8772-RADIO-U. What's the right answer here?
First of all, are celebrities coming to IHOP? That's the question I have.
They got to eat somewhere.
I'm sure they were going when it was IHOB.
Uh-huh.
International House of Burgers.
Yes.
When they changed to that.
Vaguely remember that mistake that they made.
Yeah, I remember when that happened. A lot of people were going just to try it out or whatever. But how many celebrities are going to IHOP? Nothing against IHOP. I think it's great.
It sounds like you have something against IHOP.
But yeah, I just don't know if IHOP would really be running into this problem that much.
Well, that would make it all the more, they should be prepared for the one time that it happens. They need to know what to do.
Yeah.
You can't, because you don't want to be caught off guard.
Right.
Flat-footed.
Do local celebrities count? Like if the mayor comes by? I don't think the mayor would ask for any type of private sitting.
It depends what city it is.
Yeah.
Because if
it's a small city, it's like, you don't get anything special, mayor.
Major city, I think the mayor is a celebrity. But yeah, in some towns, the mayor is just one of the people. Like he probably does go to IHOP all the time. 8772-RADIO-U. Let's IHOP as the example since that's where this person works. When a celebrity shows up, should they be treated differently in any way? Private section, blah, blah, blah. Or do they just they have to wait in line like everybody else? 20 minutes, sir. 8772-RADIO-U. How would you treat a celebrity if you were serving them at a just standard restaurant in whatever town you live in and they happen to show up? Jason had an interesting take, Allie.
Okay.
Jason says, I think a celebrity should get a private section because the commotion they would cause may not be good for the business depending on who it is.
That's a good point.
I think that's a good point too. That got me thinking in a certain way of like, you think about how high level of a celebrity you'd have to be to cause a commotion.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of I was thinking about who's been in the news lately. I don't know. Jack Quaid, Olivia Dunn, Sabrina Carpenter. They would all have different levels.
Yep.
Jack Quaid, I don't think would cause a commotion, right?
You would think he would probably be okay for most restaurants to go up to.
But Sabrina Carpenter, recognizable for a lot of people.
Yeah.
There'd probably be a lot of people coming up and like she might want some privacy.
Yes. She may just want to be treated like a regular person, kind of like what the one coworker was arguing, like just treated like everybody else. Hey, you got 20 minutes to wait till there's a table open or whatever.
That brings me to another text.
Okay.
For Nando, who said that as somebody who has actually worked at a restaurant where famous people would come in, we usually didn't shut down for them. They came in and got their stuff and left just like anybody else. For many famous people, they just want to have normal interactions.
Yeah.
And again, like you have to be a really, really high stratosphere of celebrity to be bothered all the time to where you would just want the privacy and whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where a lot of people, they do just want to, like, it's more convenient for them to just be able to come into IHOP and get pancakes and just have a meal than for it to have to be a big deal for them.
And I would say also, because this context is like kind of, this isn't pre-planned. This is a celebrity just kind of springing, onto your restaurant, just coming out of the blue. It's not already known that this celebrity is going to visit you. I think that even leads more into the idea that they wouldn't want to cause a huge commotion because they already know they haven't pre-planned to have a set of amount of tables for them or a section for them. I also do like this comment from Peter. He does mention kind of this would be if it was pre-planned.
Yeah.
He says it's a pretty standard business arrangement. The manager figures out how much revenue they lose by shutting and charges the celebrity that much as a booking fee. It gets all arranged ahead of time. Nothing comes for free. And I think that's very true. Most celebrities, if they are expecting to have a section shut down for them or the whole restaurant shut down for them, they're going to pay for that.
Yeah, exactly. There's a way that celebrities and actors and whatever are sometimes depicted in movies and TV of like they want to just show up at a restaurant and just be treated differently.
Yeah.
But I think by and large, like if they expect that kind of treatment, they do know they need to like prearrange it, and they have a whole team of people to do that.
Exactly. They're not the ones talking to the restaurant. It's the intern or somebody.
If it's Tom Cruise, he's got a team, and he doesn't just show up at IHOP or any restaurant. He has stuff arranged for like he can't just have a spontaneous meal, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I think we sorted out a lot on this. I hope we helped solve the IHOP debate. Play the podcast for all of your coworkers to hear. It's draft day in the NFL. 8772 Radio U. Let us know, who do you want to see on your team? For the Browns, Allie, you have the number 2 pick. So you can get almost anybody.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of pressure with that number 2 pick. A lot of people have been saying it might be, maybe Shedeur Sanders or somebody like that.
Would that make you happy?
I don't know. I think I'm okay with, because I know they're saying maybe Cam Ward will go first, right, to the Titans. Are they saying that?
Yeah, he's definitely going first.
Okay, so Cam Ward to the Titans, which I was kind of thinking maybe Cam Ward to the Browns. But over time, over the past few months, we've seen Travis Hunter move from number 1 to probably number 2 now. So I think more than likely the Cleveland Browns are going to select him.
Yeah, he has been. It's the vast consensus is Cam Ward number 1 to the Titans. He was the quarterback at Miami. Then Travis Hunter, the wide receiver cornerback combo to the Browns. And then number 3 is Abdul Carter from Penn State, the pass rusher. And he goes to the Giants. And then the draft kind of starts there because the first 3 are almost set in stone.
Where do they think Shedeur will go?
That is the big debate.
Okay.
Because some are saying like he could fall all the way out of the first round.
Whoa.
That Cam Ward would be the only quarterback chosen. So, but I think the other consensus is either if he gets to the Steelers, and I think they're like 21, that he would go there, and otherwise somebody, whether it's the Browns or the Giants or somebody that wants a quarterback, won't pick him in the first couple picks, but would trade in or would select him with a later pick in the first round because that would be a value to get him there, even though at the beginning of the draft, not a value.
Yeah, I'm okay if we took him, but I wouldn't want to take him with that number 2 pick. I just feel like either way, I don't know if either of them will actually work out, especially for the Browns.
You
know what I mean?
Quarterback?
Well, Shedeur Sanders or Travis Hunter.
Any of the Colorado guys.
I can't deny that they're talented, but I don't know if it'll translate for the Browns.
So is there any player, even if he may not go number 2, is there any guy that came out of college this year that as a Browns fan, you'd be like, if they get this guy somewhere in the draft, you'd be really excited about it?
Not really. There really isn't that big player that I've been like following. I mean, last year it was definitely Marvin Harrison Jr., but Cleveland had no shot at getting him. But yeah, there's really not a big transcendent player that I'm like, yep, I would love to get this guy, because I feel like the QB class in this draft is quite weak.
Yeah. And if you don't have a shot at Cam Ward, then...
And even Cam Ward, I'm not sure is going to turn out.
I actually agree. I think he may work out.
Yeah.
I think this could be one of those weird QB years where none of the quarterbacks, at least none at the top, like the top 4 or 5, actually pan out the way that we saw even last year with so many first-round picks. So I'll tell you a couple of players I really like. They're not going to go to the Packers, I don't think. But I really like Teteroa McMillan from Arizona. He's a wide receiver.
Okay.
He'll be maybe the second or third wide receiver taken, but I think he's going to be dominant in the NFL. I mean, dominant. I don't know. Is he Justin Jefferson? Is he that good? Or is he like just the number one wide receiver on a team good? Either way, like I think he's at least that good.
Okay.
And then I really like everybody's talking about Tyler Warren, the tight end from Penn State.
Okay.
But I think Colston Loveland, the tight end from Michigan, is going to really work out.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about him as well. So I'll be interested to see where they go. I'll also, just as an Ohio State fan, be interested to see where Will Howard ends up. Because I feel like his stock has been moving up, even though a lot of people thought he was a later round guy. And I think he still isn't going to go in the first couple rounds.
Yeah, you might have to wait till Saturday for him.
Yeah, but I don't think he's going to be a quarterback that you never see in the NFL. I think he may, end up playing for a team.
I'll say NFL draft day, especially the first round, but this whole weekend, it's one of the best days of the year because if you're a fan of any NFL team, today you have something that you do
hope.
not have the rest of the year. And that's hope. For the Browns today, like you have some level of hope. There's still a chance you could have something really exciting happen.
I got to say, even for the Browns, just because of how many fumbled draft picks we've had that just have not worked out, even a day like this is hard.
I feel like Travis Hunter going to the Browns is the guarantee that's not going to work.
Yeah, I can almost guarantee that
I don't know if he'll work anywhere. I don't believe in the wide receiver cornerback thing, but really I don't believe it in Cleveland. And then Chris said he texted and said the Bengals need offensive line, which is so many teams every year in the draft, which is, although today is the big, exciting, hopeful day, it's also like, it's not fun to cheer for like, I hope we get an O-lineman.
Yeah, but that's important.
Yeah.
It's so important.
And at least you don't need a quarterback.
Yeah.
Imagine going on a flight with your significant other and not sitting next to them. 8772 Radio U. To most people, I feel like this sounds insane, right?
I mean, kind of, a little bit, that you wouldn't want to sit together, especially if you're by yourselves.
But some couples actually do this intentionally. And I've got one here where the woman involved is actually a travel advisor, and she's kind of gotten popular on social media, it looks like. Her name is Nadia Henry, but she goes by Sparkle.
What? We can only have one Sparkle in the world, Nadia.
Yeah, we're going to have to call her Nadia just to avoid confusion with Sparkle from middays. But she claims that when they go on flights, and as a travel advisor, you'd expect her to be traveling a lot, that her husband likes the window, she likes the aisle, and so they will intentionally buy seats where he gets the window, she gets the aisle, and then there's a spot in between, normally on most flights, right?
Yep.
And they just hope that nobody sits between them.
That doesn't always work out.
I feel like this is a bad strategy.
Yep.
Because I can imagine, I would prefer, I don't mind sitting in a middle seat if my wife wants either side, and I'll sit with her rather than sitting alone.
Yeah.
But I also wouldn't be opposed. Like I'm big do stuff alone guy.
Okay.
So I wouldn't mind, even if we're going on a trip together, but we can't buy seats together. I'm not going to ask somebody to switch. Like, we can sit alone. We're fine. We're adults.
Sure.
It's a flight, you know?
I think that if you had to, it's not the end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I feel like this headline made it seem a little extreme. It's like they're not that far apart from each other. It's not like they're sitting in totally different areas of the plane.
I think that would be better if you know you're not going to sit together anyways. Why put the person in the middle in that awkward situation? That's what I don't like about this.
She does say that they try to avoid making the person in the middle feel uncomfortable, like a third wheel. She says they limit the conversation between them, keep it to a minimum, and they also don't do the passing things back and forth.
You know how you could really avoid making them uncomfortable? Just buy seats at different parts of the plane.
Or just buy two seats that are next to one another.
Yeah, just one of you give up your preference and just sit next to each other if that matters to you. And if it doesn't matter, don't put somebody in that situation. You can actually just straight up avoid that.
Right.
If you buy a seat one row back and you still get the aisle, to me, I feel like I need to advise Nadia here on her travel.
Yeah. Honestly, if I don't know the person I'm sitting next to, there's no way in the world I'm sitting in a middle seat. There's no way. I have to know at least one person beside me.
So if you were about to buy tickets for a flight, and all that was left was middle seats, you'd just be like, all right, I guess I'm going to have to buy a different flight.
Well, I've never had that happen. I've never run into that issue. I've always been able to either choose. If I fly alone, I like to choose aisle. If I'm flying with somebody I know, then I usually would like to choose window. But there's been times when I've been flying with my sister where she'll be the window seat and I'll be beside her in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do any airlines still do this? Because I know Southwest gave it up, right? The open seating. What if you walked onto a plane and all of the seats on the aisles and windows were gone and you had to pick a middle seat?
I would refuse.
You would walk off the plane?
I would refuse.
You'd make a scene?
Be like, I'm not flying on this plane. Yeah, no, but I would
don't think you'd get your money back for that.
Right. I would just refuse to fly with a plane or a airline that doesn't allow you to choose your seats ahead of time.
Okay. I didn't know you were that picky.
I like to be able to get up and move around if I'm by myself and I don't want to have to ask somebody to keep getting up for me. So
you know what you want.
I do.
That's a good
I've
thing.
done a lot of flying. I know what I like.
That's a good thing. Starting to think this AI stuff is getting a little out of control. 8772 RadioU. Going around the last day or two is a new AI tool called Cluely that Columbia student Roy Lee claims, he's part of the team that started it, claims it will allow you to cheat on everything. Like that's literally in their little product ad that they've come up with for this thing.
Oh boy.
They want you to be able to, it literally says cheat on sales calls, cheat on interviews. The ad shows the guy cheating on a date. As in like it's a first date and he's able to, find details from her profile. The AI is suggesting what he should say.
Yeah.
This is a video ad. They say they have $5.3 million in funding already to get this thing going. The ad definitely plays like a trailer for Black Mirror, as many people have pointed out.
Yeah.
And the catch or the draw of this, though, like how does it help you cheat on everything, is that you can have this running live as you're doing stuff and it will feed you suggestions. At least that's the goal of what they plan to do with it.
Well, I got to be honest, the advertisement to me actually does nothing to sell it and actually just makes it look so stupid to use, especially in a date setting, because it doesn't help him out with his date at all. It actually makes it way worse. She gets up and leaves during the ad. So how is this helping promote the company?
I think the idea is that you can use this to cheat, but there's only
only so many things you can cheat
cheating
on.
And lying, I know they're different, and if you get caught lying, you're gonna lose no matter what. Well, depending on who you are. So I think that's the little catch of it. But I mean, either way, it looks like first of all, I just feel unbelievable this could actually be rolled out into the world anytime soon.
Yeah.
I know the things we can do with AI and computers now are amazing, but first of all, I think to use it in the way it showed in the date, you'd need like Google or whatever they're called, like the Meta Ray-Bans or whatever. And who wants that?
No, you don't want to, especially on a date. That would be so weird.
That's a red flag. If you show up on a date and they're wearing the Meta Ray-Bans.
I'd be like, I don't think this is going to work out.
You're like Grandpa Simpson. You're just walking right out of there.
Walking right out, disappear right back into those bushes. But yeah, I just feel like this is definitely not for me. But also, I don't want to encourage cheating.
But the idea that they already have for Cluely $5.3 million in funding, and there's been some other AI stuff that feels even more like dirty and nasty than already ChatGPT and like the ones we're familiar with that have come out lately that are getting funding. There is like some community and where this is like, they're like, yes, this is the future and we believe in this really hard and we think this is what the world needs to look like. And that's kind of concerning too.
Absolutely. There are definitely people that are backing this because they've spent a lot of money funding this, as you said. But that is scary that people would be pushing for this type of stuff. It's giving me Wall-E vibes. You know what I mean? You know the Disney movie Wall-E?
Yeah.
Where they're just facing the computer all the time. That's given me the same impact here with that advertisement they had.
I love some of the details of this story too. This guy is like the guy that's kind of the head of this thing, or at least the that's going out doing the talking.
Yeah.
Is still a Columbia student, or I don't know if he's still at Columbia, but he's 21 years old.
I think it said he got kicked out of Columbia or was suspended.
But he claims that using this, because like this already exists, it's just not available to everybody, and they need funding to make that happen. But he says he was able to use it to get himself an internship at Amazon. Like he used this for the interview, is what he claims. Amazon said. They declined to comment on this situation specifically, but they said its job candidates must acknowledge they won't use unauthorized tools during the interview process. Oh, that ought to stop them.
Yeah, that's really going to work.
I'm sure. Well, if they say that, then there's no way this guy could have used this to get a job, internship at Amazon.
Thanks for listening to the RadioU podcast. Don't forget to rate and review the show.